Charlotte Soccer Show, World Cup banter in your ear, on your screen, in your eyeballs. Day 12. We are almost 2 weeks into this thing now. It's your man, Danny Brams, rocking it with our guy, Matty Geslin, out on the West Coast. Geslin, we never have the exact same proportion in our shots here, but you look really small there today. Like, what's going on? Can you move closer to the camera or something? I feel huge. I feel like a giant.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think it must be kind of the way.
Zoom in. Come on.
This tournament is taking me in. I feel compressed, Danny Brams, but it's good to see you. You're in a new place. I know you're not in the dugout in the cave that you have back there at home.
I got some art in the shot here, but I'm sensing a serious lack of Charlotte FC scarves.
Mm-hmm.
I am rocking the mint kit for the people, for the crown.
So where are you?
As always. But I'm traveling. I'm in Atlanta. I'm actually on the road for work. I'm in Atlanta, loving life. But I'm going to admit this. I didn't skip. I only was able to really listen to the morning games because I had to drive down here, and I was like, my drive is either going to be in the morning and I miss the morning session, or I go in the afternoon and miss the afternoon session. I was like, the afternoon games look a little bit nicer to me. Let's just get down there.
And boy, that was the right move, by the way.
Turned into the right move. Yeah.
Those games were wild this afternoon. Morning games, like you said, the first game, Canada-Morocco, didn't really have much impact on the group for the most part. And then that Croatia-Belgium game.
Well, other than Morocco winning the group, right?
Yeah, other than that.
Count as impact?
But the Belgium-Croatia game was a dud, 0-0. Belgium out, as we talked about last night.
Sad performance from the Belgians. KDB was right.
He was.
He said we're too old to go far in this cup, and they didn't go that far.
Yep. And it just looked lifeless. It's kind of unfortunate because at some points they were down to their tournament life. They knew it was on the line, and you could see it walking. Croatia was able to walk the ball from the back up to almost about midfield almost every time they had it. And you just wonder, where was that drive and where was that desire to go for it? And ultimately the golden generation that has never won anything continues to be there.
Right.
And
they look distinctly bronze to me these days, for sure.
Yes. And then, like you said, the afternoon games were just absolutely wild.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Japan somehow did it again. Japan with another smash and grab job to get the 3 points and win the group. Germany wins 4-2 and gets eliminated. That's crazy to see. And for a minute, it looked like Costa Rica was going to go through and eliminate Spain. So absolute madness. It was so fun to watch. I was really surprised I really thought the late results, I kind of thought that it was going to be good games, but I thought it was going to be pretty easy wins. I was expecting I prioritized watching those games because I wanted to see a goal fest. So
absolutely.
I want to see Germany put up 7 on Costa Rica and Spain and Germany battling on goal differential. And it ended up turning into not that at all. And unfortunately, I recommended a buddy to bet. I was like, oh yeah, just bet a parlay, bet the two favorites in the late and you'll be fine. And, didn't quite work out for him, unfortunately.
But it also wasn't a set of games without its moments, without its controversy, right? Potentially tournament altering in the end result here with the game situation in the Spain and Japan game.
Yeah, we got to show this real quick.
Got to show it because
we don't have video capabilities, but we can show you the freeze frame, which tells all. And Japan basically got a goal after a cross that came in. You can see that ball is over the line. And if you looked at a few video angles, it looked really over the line as well. And the play stood up. But this was what was weird is that this ball was called out in the field, in the actual play. And they went to a long VAR review, and then they called it good. They called it a good goal. Have you ever seen that?
I have not. And honestly, there's a couple of things at play here that are kind of strange to me. Is one, with all the technology, why are we not applying that to the end lines? That's a very simple check on the VAR. Now,
at some point, there was a rumor of a sensor being put in the ball. Did that ever happen?
If that's the case, it's a very simple, clear, and we've seen it with the offside. How defined it is. So it's a weird thing, a weird one. And then to your point, why would you? It's inconclusive. You heard the analyst on the broadcast. If you were able to listen to it, or if you're watching it, it's an inconclusive decision. So stick with what's on the field, which was out. right? So a lot of pieces at play here.
Our text chain was flying all throughout
Oh
these
my
late
gosh.
games, and it was all about, hey, let the call in the field stand. Unless it's a clear and obvious error, which this was not.
Yeah, and credit to Japan, right? Because they kept playing through. They just
I don't even know why VAR stopped the game.
No, I don't think
this
so
result
either.
was like, gambling wise and fantasy wise, this was a good result for me. But
Yeah.
but just right thing happening wise, I
yeah,
don't agree with
it's
it.
just and like I said, Germany is now out of the World Cup after beating Costa Rica 4-2. What would have made up that goal difference with Japan had it been a draw? A simple move like that where ideally the technology is what's there for to mitigate those errors is potentially going to cost Germany, which is in absolute disarray right now. To be continuing in this tournament, does that improve their longevity of sorrow and being blasted at home? Probably not. Maybe it just gets them out of the group, but either way, a real serious issue with German soccer right now.
So we see 2 CONCACAF teams go out, Costa Rica and Canada. We see Germany go out. We see Belgium go out. And now I think with Belgium going out, it's time to class up the show, Gessen, because guess what?
Yeah.
I've got another guest for you. We have yet another 3 days in a row with a guest. We're feeling pretty good. And we decided to bring on to the show today, friend of the show, Rachel Warren Hayes, the legendary. How you doing, Rachel? What's going on?
Hi.
In the flesh.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
We've been wanting to have you on this show because your household battle, you against John, has been kind of the running commentary thing. We always touch on like how you versus John, the house divided is going. We love that. And we also love the fact that you captained Kevin De Bruyne. It was a bold move. It was a strategy that could have worked because you're the only one with him as a captain. If he goes off, you're just getting all kinds of bonus points. Today, he is not going to be getting you any more points. Yeah. How does it feel?
It's pretty sad. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt like in my mind, when he's on, he's on. So my methodology was like, all right, it's the World Cup. He's going to be playing his heart out and could potentially be the differentiating factor for me. But obviously today they're out. So no more captain for my team, which probably really limits my chances of winning this.
It does hurt, but hey, Neymar and Mbappe are hurt. You gotta hope those guys stay hurt now.
I know, but I don't know. I was looking at, as the countries are out, then you start looking at, right, who do I have left that's actually going to get me points? And those two were two that I was also banking on.
Yeah, some of the big names are out, right? And you mentioned Kevin De Bruyne and kind of what your expectation was with him. I think that was the right move, right decision, right? He is the man. We see him every week at Manchester City. Unfortunately, he has a different set of players playing with him at Belgium, which don't resonate with what he can do at Manchester City, which, it's just unfortunate because he is one of the best players in the world. And now we won't see him until, Christmas. And hopefully, there's a couple other guys that are, potentially looking in that situation tomorrow. I know one of your favorite players, Heung-min Son, and South Korea are playing tomorrow. So they potentially could be eliminated. What's the thought there? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Or is there a Spurs aspect here where you're like, kind of everyone go home and get healthy and let's go in December?
Oh, I'm definitely putting country over Spurs right now. I don't know if that's like a normal.
Sure.
I think that's smart. I think you played. A, you got to play the games in front of you. You got to deal with the first things first, and B, the Spurs are hopeless anyway. There's no, it's not a few extra days of.
I don't want to say that loud.
But I will say that I'm super excited to see Sonny play. Obviously, rooting for South Korea and for him to have a good performance since he is my pick. And I just want to say, especially to you, Danny Brams, thank you so much for doing this pool. It's so much fun. You introduced me to this.
Yeah.
It was the World Cup, 4 years ago?
4 years ago in Russia, yeah.
Yeah, and I had never, quite frankly, John and I were together then, obviously, but I was still a very new soccer fan and didn't really know many of the players at all. But it really helped get me more excited about watching all of the matches, and it has just been really fun. And I was looking forward to you doing it again this year. So I just wanted to say thanks. Shout out to you for doing it. I know it's a lot of work. But it's really fun, and it helps me in particular get more excited about doing it. And then, I mean, of course, the fact that I'm pretty sure so far every day I've had more points than John. So.
Yes, yeah, you've been crushing Johnny, including today. Yes, you made a nice move.
Yeah.
You were kind of giving up the as we go over to the leaderboard. He was kind of making up ground on you in your little side game battle, but today. Today you had actually the second highest score, I believe. So KDB almost sent you out a winner for the second time as a prize as a daily prize winner on his way out the door, which would have been nice. But unfortunately, Scott Worley, my boy Scott Worley, great filmmaker in Austin, that put his best effort together for an 84-point performance. So good for him. Side note, by the way, Scott called me. Scott's also in a household battle because he's chasing his brother. I don't think they live together, but he's battling his brother. So he makes our two intra-family struggles made like big progress today.
Well, congrats to him. That's exciting.
I think you beat your husband by about 14, 15 points today. So you widened that gap, which had been getting a little closer. So congrats.
Put your foot down today, Rach, and said, today is my day. And
well,
you're not catching.
It's funny because obviously at baseline, John knows infinitely more about this than I do. And when we were we actually did our picks on the same day, but in separate rooms. And
okay, nice.
He was like, okay, well, can I see yours? And I was like, no. And he was like, why? I was like, because I'm not done. He was like, oh, okay. And so, I mean, I probably spent like 2 hours doing it. And, then at the very end, I had, I know I've told you this, Grams, but I had, what's his name? Who was out? Sane. And,
Leroy Sane. Yeah, from Germany.
And so that, I was like, I'm done. And then John was like, by the way, Sane's out. And I was like, dang it. So I had to rearrange a few things.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
I gave John a chance to switch off of Sane also, because I told him, I was like, hey, like I was telling people if you had an injured guy in your thing, I was getting in touch with people before they played. I said, hey, do you want to make this change? And he said, no, I'll stick with him. I'm good on Sane. And it didn't work out there, unfortunately. But you made the wise move to switch off him and change up a few things.
Yes.
Well, what have you been doing on the games that you've been able to watch? Are you watching the U.S. a bunch? What's some of the coolest memories you'll take so far from this cup and the action over there in Qatar?
Sure. So my biggest memory and favorite memory so far is the first USA match. John and I were down in Pensacola visiting my family. My parents live there. And we drove down and took our dog and stayed for the whole week of Thanksgiving. And for that match, my parents aren't really soccer fans per se. But we were like, hey, we're going to find somewhere and go and watch this match. Do you guys want to come? And we looked it up. Really, John looked it up. And there was a couple local breweries in Pensacola that were doing watch parties. And we were saying the names of the breweries to my parents. And my mom was like, oh, Emerald Republic, I've been wanting to go there. Like, we'll definitely go. And
perfect,
we were like, all right. Yeah. And so we went, and I mean, John had told us we needed to get there early, and we got there probably only 15 minutes early, and he'd obviously wanted to get there earlier than that. And we literally got the last seats in the bar.
Yeah.
And it was just really fun to be there with my parents and to see so many people. They, like I said, they're just not really big soccer fans, so they wouldn't have been watching the match otherwise. But then they were like, wow, this is so fun. And to see so many USA fans that came out, and the energy in the brewery was really cool. For every US goal, they gave out a prize. And so we got some pretty nice pint glasses.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah, so that was really fun.
A memory you can hold in your hand.
Yes, exactly. And then this week, I was able to watch the USA match versus Iran, and we went over to the new Duckworths in South Park, which
okay.
just recently opened here in Charlotte. I think only like a week or two ago. It just
Love
opened.
South Park.
And it's just down the road from us, and so that was really
Perfect.
nice to check out a new bar. Obviously, we've been to the Duckworth Uptown tons of times, but the vibe there was great. It was a packed house there too, so it's just been really fun to feel the energy of people getting excited about the USA.
See, now you're speaking the Charlotte Soccer Show language. What did you drink at this new Duckworth? And what are you drinking now?
So at the Duckworth, I'll have to admit, which I know is not great for the Charlotte Soccer Show, but I'm not a huge beer drinker.
That's okay. That's good. I was drinking wine. I was drinking wine on the show straight out of the bottle the other night.
Rams was chugging wine the other day. So
love that. I was drinking White Claws at Duckworth's, but tonight I'm having a lovely rosé.
There you go.
For the occasion. 2 old dogs. Shout out. So.
Hell yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Well, hopefully you can win this. A side bet. You got to put some. I mean, it's too late to change anything. It's all kind of luck of the draw, but you need to put a household chores bet or some type of thing like that, so you can get some. Since you're beating John, you might as well get something for it, right?
It's funny that you say that because we haven't placed a bet between us yet, but we were recently talking about betting, and it must have been about football, American football. That I was like, I'm not betting money with you, like that's stupid, but we should bet chores, like, a week of doing all the dishes or a month's worth of you taking out the trash or whatever, and he was into it. He was like, yeah, I'm down for that kind of betting. So we should put in a little friendly bet now.
There you go. Well, Rach, I will certainly, if you want it, I will pass off my French heritage to you for a bet between England and France that could come up in the round of the quarterfinals. So if you'd like that as a bet with John, you're welcome to take that one. Just throwing it out there. There's a long way to go, of course, but that's a potential game.
So are you saying that our boy Johnny Hayes is claiming England? Because you're way off there. He'll claim Ireland before England. Come on now.
Well, of the two, he'll definitely claim England before France. So it's
that's fair.
I figured there's a chance that Rachel could take the wine. I know Rachel well.
Let's be honest. Geslin, you're just tying it all back to France and making it all about you. So you're making their side bet about you somehow.
I learned from you, Danny.
Rachel, we've known Geslin for years. Is this any surprise to us to see this behavior?
No, I've been spending too much time with you, Danny Brams, who stated on this show that it's all about him. So it's it's who you are with, so. But Rach, obviously, you mentioned John knowing so much about the game. Obviously, Danny and I watch a lot, if not every game this tournament. We know that, you're not sitting there with the remote changing the channel like we are. Besides the U.S. game, which obviously I'm assuming that you guys will all watch together or nearby, what are some of the other big games that you're looking forward to? If, everything plays out, just the teams that are remaining go through, what are some of those games that would be like, I got to go to the bar and watch that and see what happens?
Sure. Well, so John and I actually won't be able to watch the next U.S. match together because he is going to Vegas for work, and I will be here in Charlotte. And I actually was like, oh, well, is Bram's going to be around? So I'm going to try to watch with you, Danny. John was like,
it's a breakfast plan. So yeah, let's come up with something on Saturday for breakfast.
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought you might still be in Atlanta, so I wasn't sure.
I will be getting back from Atlanta as quickly as possible.
I
love the fact that my job sent me here for work. I'm really excited about the project I'm going to be working on all day tomorrow. And when that project is over, I'm going to be getting back to Charlotte as quickly as possible.
Yep.
So.
Love it. Well, definitely let me know.
Yeah, I might even leave Friday night, to be honest. If I'm not too tired, I might just come back Friday night. If not, though, I'll be driving back like Saturday 5 a.m. to make sure I get back in time for the U.S. match.
Well, you can ask Rachel's husband about a trip that him and I took back from that drive before, and ask him if he's would like me to drive it for you. You'll get a real answer from him about that. But we'll leave it there. We got home in record time. Let's just say that. But
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. So, what, Rachel, have you? What is this cup doing to sort of fire up your love to bring it back to Charlotte for Charlotte FC? You're wearing the kit. It looks great on you. Is that the Bronny Bro autograph kit?
It's not. I almost
hopefully you're not wearing that one.
Yeah. Then I was like, what if I spill wine on it? You know,
Right. It would
So-
be an amazing flex to wear it, but it's probably best not to. But like,
Well,
how is
you know,
this?
Cover it. Just
How is
cover
this-
it with some tape.
It's signed on the bottom, kind of. So I was like, it won't be in the frame.
Oh.
You know, like I would have to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I've done it. I do
Pin
it all the
it, like
time.
pin
for
it up
sure.
top.
Yeah.
But how fired up are you for the next season of Charlotte FC? You know, we're both season ticket holders now that this World Cup has sort of like carried us over with like a real soccer buzz. You know.
Sure, I am so excited. And I mean, I think going to Duckworth and South Park and seeing that even on a work day, the place got packed for the match is so encouraging to see in the city. So many people getting just excited in general about soccer. And I saw on social media that bars all over the city were packed for the match. And I think that that's going to continue to be the trend, even when they are during work hours. It seems like people are trying to make it a priority and
Just getting in general excited about
the game, which is great to see. Obviously, being able to watch Swiderski play in a World Cup
Yes.
is like
Amazing.
what? Like he did
Yeah.
for us, you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
that was really, really fun and so exciting. And I think probably my guess is a lot of people in Charlotte feel that way, you know, getting to see him actually on the pitch in the World Cup is
Right.
is
He's got
huge.
at least one more game, at least one more chance to
Yeah.
get out there and maybe score a
Yeah.
goal or something, you know?
Against France.
Right.
Against France, but that's okay. Again, all back to here. So, you know, it's fine.
I mean, Poland was so bad against Argentina. They really
Yeah.
weren't really like hardly even trying to get anything going. And Carroll still put in some pretty nice stats. He actually did create a couple chances and make a few
Yeah.
interceptions. So I mean, it's not like this guy's a slouch. He knows his stuff. So
Sure. And I mean, I think, you know, seeing I'm an Instagram gal. That's my like
Oh,
preferred
yeah.
social media of choice. So seeing all the Charlotte FC social medias just really propping him up and congratulating him
Yeah.
as they should, you know, I just think is like continuing to your point, like the buzz in the city about Charlotte FC. So I think
Yeah.
it's great. It's great timing of the World Cup that, you know, our player is there and right after our inaugural season and
Right.
he's gonna come back and regardless of what happens with Poland moving forward.
He played in the World Cup and he's
Right.
a Charlotte FC player. So
Yeah.
that is sick.
Yeah.
Like,
we joked, John and I joked about it on an episode, and it's still, the imagery sticks in my mind of you know, like when your friend goes to like a really cool summer camp. You're in elementary school and your friend goes to a really cool summer camp and just comes back and just like won't stop talking about the camp. I'm envisioning these scenes
Right.
like Carol come back like, oh man, the World Cup was awesome. You know, like it was
Yeah,
so
I mean, he must have so
cool.
many
Just like-
stories to bring back and tell the rest
Yeah,
of the team
sure.
About his experience and just being in Qatar in general. I'm sure at baseline is a cool experience. So, I think
Big
it's
time.
great.
And the one thing I am glad about it, even though I would love to see him score a goal, and I would have been awesome to see like Karol Swiderski like take over the World Cup for some crazy like dynamic
Sure.
Polish side that captured the world's imagination. That would make him more likely to leave Charlotte. So it's actually
Yeah.
been kind of a perfect situation where he's able to go, get the experience, get the training with all these world-class players and coaches, but then he never really did anything to sort of make a name for himself that's too big, so we don't have to worry about him leaving or anything.
He doesn't have to start on Sunday. So he doesn't have to start making that statement on Sunday. He just needs to be an average player on Sunday and have a good game and get more memories and stories to come back to the locker room. Okay, let's just calm down there, Danny Brams. Calm down. Calm down.
Hey, I'm reading. I'm feeling it. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I will say that I felt a little bit of guilt when I was picking my Polish player and I didn't pick him. But you know,
Same.
in terms
I didn't want to
empathy-
ask. I wasn't sure if you were going to take Robert Lewandowski, but I figured,
I
but I didn't want to
did,
bring it up.
yeah. And I mean, literally, I was like, I feel
Right,
like
you
a
probably
bad
thought about it a lot
fan.
longer than most people did. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
than most people did, yeah.
It's like, you know, I obviously tried to pick several Tottenham players, which
Right.
in some cases is easy. Like Harry Kane, you're done. You know, like of
Yeah.
course I'm gonna bring you in for England.
Easy. Yeah.
Sonny, of course, for South Korea, I got you. But Poland? I don't know.
That's tough. That's tough.
As you can see, nobody. I'm showing the Poland here on picks on the screen here. Nobody picked Swiderski.
No, unfortunately not.
So 3/4 of the pool picked Lewandowski, and the others picked Zielinski. Funnily enough, Poland was the one nation where we should have all been picking the keeper, because he's put up 53 points.
Right.
10 plus in each game. Szczesny has had a hell of a game. He saved 2 penalties, which I think is the first time that anyone has saved 2 penalties in a World Cup in like 3 or 4
Something
cups.
like that, yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
I think Tim Howard might have, or no, I'm sorry, Brad Friedel is actually the last person to do it. I think in the 2002 or maybe 2006 World Cup. So there's an American tie there, but yeah.
Either way, Karol Swiderski, knowing how many people in this pool are Charlotte FC fans, did not take him. So they went with their mind, not with their heart, of course. But of course, we're all happy that he's playing in the World Cup and has that experience to come back with, which will be super exciting. And hopefully, just continue and evolve the team for next year. I mean, a really exciting time for you guys to be Charlotte FC fans, of course. And, Rach, I'm sure you guys are excited for year 2 and what they're going to bring to the table. And I know you mentioned the social media team. They did an awesome job this year. So just looking forward to seeing them develop and grow the team. And obviously having a guy like Karol Swiderski play in the World Cup is not a bad thing to have on your roster, your belt for year 2, for sure.
Sure. I mean, and it's such a party. I mean, I know you guys have talked about that a lot on the pod, but I'm going to just say, like, casual soccer fan, like, going to those games, matches, it's so fun. Like, it's a fun time. And you're going to go and it's going to be a party. And, obviously John and Brams and I go to a bunch of them and it's just a fun time. So it'll be, I'm excited to get back into having that. I think I said to you the other day, Brams, like I hadn't seen you in a while. John obviously had, but I hadn't. And I said to him, well, I think that we need to just invite Brams over because there's not a Charlotte FC match anytime soon. And that's like when I usually see you.
I know, right? Yeah. So we're gonna get together. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I don't know if it's the same bottle, but I was over there on Sunday and had a glass of that rosé that you're drinking right now, and it was delicious. So
different bottle, but it was also delicious.
Yeah. Same thing. We got the Emmy squared pizza. It was amazing. That was an amazing day. I appreciated you guys having me over. I wanted to say this, Rachel. Whatever research you were doing, your research is good, because even if you don't consider yourself a soccer expert, look at your pick here for Ghana. You picked. You found your way to Mohamed Kudus on your team, who's like the stud for Ghana that not many people picked, and he's crushing everybody else in his country for points. So don't sell yourself too short. You know what you're doing here. You're not a total amateur.
I guess I did research, like I know what Google is. So for the purposes of this pool, I was like, Google is my best friend. And I basically just went, I think I obviously went country by country, but now I'm trying to even remember in what order I filled the positions. But I basically just Googled every country, and there were several sites that did a really nice job in terms of World Cup coverage, I thought, that weren't necessarily just like a big name site that I would know about, but that had, a breakout of here are the top players, here's the starting, or is the team that's going, here are the top players, here's like a little blurb about the team. And that's kind of how I picked my team, was just based off of a few different sites that I went to that kind of had content like that on it. And in a lot of cases, I picked the rising star,
Right. Yeah, exactly. That would be Kudus for sure.
Just for fun. I mean,
exactly. Like, well, that's what the World Cup's all about, is like, is like young players, both in the men's and women's World Cups that I watch every couple of years. Like, it's all about the new stars that you meet. It's like the new fresh faces sort of shine on the world stage, and it changes the soccer world. It's every single World Cup. Like you look at a guy like Cody Gakpo for the Netherlands. He is having a great World Cup. He scored in every match in the group stage, leading his team. He's talking about, this was already kind of in the works before the World Cup, but now he's about to like move from the Dutch league to Manchester United. So like it's so cool to see, like, obviously you see these established stars like Messi and Modric and Lewandowski we mentioned, but like the young stars are really what drives my excitement and passion of the World Cup. I'm glad that drove your team decisions. as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, obviously there are players like Messi, Neymar, Ronaldo, and then for me, Kane and Sonny. That I was like, all
your
right,
boy,
these are I'm definitely picking these
locks.
players.
Yeah.
But then, like I picked McKinney for the US, like maybe not necessarily the obvious pick clearly. Everybody, and now I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have picked him.
He almost scored versus England. He should have scored versus England.
Yeah. He should have. But and you made an awesome point. I think, one thing that I just want to touch on, and you mentioned your parents and watching the game and the being a party and kind of elaborating on what Danny Brams just touched on. That's the beauty of the World Cup, right? It's like, no matter what, if you're not the average, or if you are the average fan and not the avid fan like we are, it's just that enjoyment of the World Cup and seeing other cultures and, seeing the Senegalese fans dancing in the crowd. And, if you're watching another game, you're watching some other, like, the Japanese cleaning up the stadium after their game. Like, there's little things and little stories about the World Cup that resonate with so many people. And it's just a fun environment that the average fan will join in on. And then
I just realized maybe that's why Japan got that ruling. That's why that ball was ruled.
Their fair play. Their fair play score
should have been in
so
bounds.
good.
Because they're just like, we got to keep these guys in the tournament. We can send half the cleaning staff home.
Exactly.
If we just keep the Japanese team alive. I mean, that ball is out, but hey,
it does look out. It does.
What's a few extra folded towels worth? Am I right?
Yeah.
But to your point, Goslin, I think, it's a great memory. Even when we were watching matches back at my parents' house, my dad would be like, well, I don't know the rule. Like, why is it that? And like, just listening to John explain to him some of the rules and why something was ruled the way that it was, it's making him appreciate the sport more. And then just for people like my parents who just kind of tagged along with us to go, but then had such a great time. Not only is it about the World Cup, but then they got to experience that in their own community, and they went to a brewery that's 10 minutes from them that they'd never gone to before that was doing this really fun World Cup event. And I mean, too bad the U.S. didn't score more goals. Who knows what the prizes would have been.
Could have had a Cadillac.
Yeah, exactly. You own the brewery now. Here you go.
Yeah,
you can imagine them going to like talk to their friends though, like after the fact, like this week, and be like, oh yeah, well, we went to the World Cup. We went to go watch the World Cup game, and
absolutely. Well, and that's what we kept telling them. We were like, well, now you participated in this big world event, that you otherwise might not necessarily have participated in, but now you can say that you did. You watched the match, like you went out, you participated, you rooted for USA, and watching them get into it, even though they don't really know a lot about it, was fun.
Right. And it sets them up for 4 years from now when we host it here, and we'll all go together and we'll all go to a game as a big, all of us.
That would be awesome
for the team.
Sure.
So,
I'm getting the RV. My dream is to road trip across America in an RV.
Well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We still have a game on Saturday.
I want to ask Rachel one more question here. We're getting ready to wrap up, but I want to say, what is it like from your perspective as a relatively new fan of the game to see some of these like established powers, like Germany's out of the cup, Belgium's out, like teams that like were predicted to win it are now going out early? How does that dynamic sort of like, does that add excitement for you, or like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it definitely adds excitement. I think it's so surprising. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch any of the matches today due to my work schedule, but John was like, oh my God, Germany is out. I'm like, wait, what? That just sounds crazy. It doesn't even sound right. And for obvious reasons, I was very disappointed that Belgium was out. My captain being on that team. Right. So, but I think it kind of also adds a different layer of fun, like an excitement to it, because these teams that everybody thought were probably shoo-ins to the next round, they were big upsets. And so it just kind of adds another layer of excitement and anticipation to see what they're going to do in the next round. Can they keep it up, or will they fall?
I mean, Japan plays Croatia next. Who would have foreseen that matchup coming at all? I never would have thought those two would play each other. So. Geslin, any more questions? I'm out of questions. I'm good. Rachel, thank you so much for everything you give.
Speaking of advance or go home, Rach, we got to get you on the record. What is the result for Saturday, and where are we watching it? Are you watching with Danny Brams? Are you taking Danny Brams somewhere? What's the plan for Saturday? What's the result?
Oh, USA, obviously. USA, right? I believe.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I mean, totally in for that. Definitely down to watch at Danny Graham's if you make it back in town in time.
I'm trying. Yeah, we'll come up with a breakfast spot for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, what's up with the Dutch anyway? What's with the Dutch and like splitting bills, you know, and all that stuff? I mean, F them. Forget it. We're gonna crush those fools.
I agree.
I never doubted that
tulip
was the
smashers.
answer, but I just figured I'd ask it. So,
Sure.
Rach,
Well, we have had
pleasure
a
as
blast.
always.
Yeah, always great to talk to you. Thanks for finally coming on the show, adding some class to this show. You know,
Yes.
I mean, guys, we're doing the best we can, but you classed up the joint for sure.
Oh no, you guys, seriously, like I said earlier, thank you both so much. This has been so fun. The pool is amazing, super fun. These
That's that
videos
guy.
have been awesome.
You too, Geslin.
No, it's you're
this show is really
Get-
fun and getting because just because of work I'm not always able to watch, and so it's really nice to be able to read the email update and kind of get like a good summary of what happened and watch these shows and then get a deeper dive into it, and always appreciate the little banter with John and I. I mean, I gotta have some pride in that, right?
Well, it'll
Yeah.
continue. That'll continue.
But no,
It's really fun. I know everybody who is watching, and especially those participating in our pool, really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. You're doing such a good job. It's making the World Cup experience even more fun than it already would be. So it's very appreciated.
Well, thank you. I know I'm tired. Danny Bram was just as tired the other day, but it's a lot of fun, and we love doing it. And thank you for coming on, Rach. We love you as always, and we'll definitely try and get you on sooner than later for sure.
Can't wait.
excellent. Well, with all that, it's for the cup.